Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a potentially seismic event shaking the foundations of global trade. A possible 50% tariff hike between two economic giants, India and the United States. This isn't just about numbers and trade agreements. It's about real businesses, real jobs, and the future of economic cooperation. We'll break down what's happening, who the winners and losers could be, both in the short and long term, and critically, what India can do to weather this tariff tsunami. So buckle up and let's get started. To understand the potential impact of a 50% tariff, we first need to look at why this is even on the table. The trade relationship between India and the US, while generally positive, has seen its share of friction points. For years, the US has expressed concerns over issues like market access for American goods and services in India, intellectual property protection, and the overall trade imbalance. India, on the other hand, has voiced concerns about US protectionist measures and access to the American market for its key exports. Recent developments, perhaps specific trade investigations or policy shifts on either side, might have exacerbated these tensions, leading to this potential drastic measure of a 50% tariff. It's crucial to remember that tariffs are often used as leverage in trade negotiation, but a hike of this magnitude signals a significant escalation. Short-term impacts, the immediate shockwaves. Let's talk about the immediate aftermath. A 50% tariff isn't a gentle nudge, it's a sledgehammer. For Indian exporters, suddenly facing a 50% tax on their goods entering the US market will make them significantly less competitive. Sectors like textiles and apparel, gems and jewelry, and certain agricultural products, which heavily rely on the US market, could see a sharp decline in demand. This could lead to production cuts, job losses, and significant financial strain. Conversely, American goods entering India will also become considerably more expensive. This could impact sectors like specialized machinery, certain agricultural commodities, like almonds or soybeans, and high-tech products. While Indian domestic producers in these sectors might see a temporary boost in demand due to reduced foreign competition, consumers will likely face higher prices. It's important to note that in the short term, there will be disruption across supply chains. Businesses that have built their models on the existing trade flows will need to rapidly adjust, find alternative markets or suppliers, or potentially face closure. The initial shockwaves will be felt by businesses and consumers alike. Long-term ramifications, reshaping the trade landscape. The long-term consequences of a sustained 50% tariff regime are far-reaching and could fundamentally alter the trade relationship between India and the USA. Indian businesses might be forced to diversify their export markets, focusing more on other countries in Asia, Europe, or Africa. This could lead to new trade agreements and a reorientation of India's global trade strategy. Similarly, American companies that rely on India as a market or as a part of their supply chain might need to rethink their strategies. Some might look for alternative manufacturing hubs or focus more on domestic production. This could have implications for global supply chain resilience and diversification. Investment flows between the two countries are also likely to be affected. Higher tariffs could deter foreign direct investment as the profitability of cross-border ventures decreases. This could impact job creation and technological advancements in both nations. The overall economic growth trajectory of both countries could also be negatively impacted in the long run due to reduced trade and investment. India's strategic response, navigating the storm. So, what can India do to navigate this challenging situation? A multi-pronged approach is crucial. Diplomacy and negotiation. The first and foremost approach should be to actively engage with the US through diplomatic channels to understand their concerns and negotiate a mutually acceptable resolution. This could involve addressing specific trade irritants and finding common ground to avoid the full implementation of these tariffs. Leveraging the WTO, India can also explore options within the World Trade Organization (WTO) framework. If the tariffs are deemed to be in violation of WTO rules, India could initiate dispute settlement proceedings. While this process can be lengthy, it provides a rules-based mechanism to address unfair trade practices, boosting domestic competitiveness. This situation underscores the importance of strengthening India's domestic manufacturing capabilities. Investing in infrastructure, improving ease of doing business, promoting innovation, and enhancing the quality of Indian goods and services will make Indian industries more competitive globally, regardless of tariffs. Initiatives like Make in India become even more critical in this context. Diversifying export markets, India needs to aggressively pursue diversification of its export markets. Focusing on building stronger trade relationships with other major economies and emerging markets can reduce India's reliance on the US market and provide alternative avenues for growth. Exploring and actively participating in regional trade agreements can also be beneficial. Strategic use of counter tariffs, carefully considered. While resorting to retaliatory tariffs can escalate trade tensions, India might consider targeted and proportionate counter tariffs on specific US goods as a negotiating tactic or to protect its domestic industries. However, this needs to be approached with caution to avoid a full-blown trade war. Supporting affected industries, the government may need to provide targeted support to industries that are heavily impacted by the US tariffs. This could include financial assistance, export promotion schemes, and help in finding alternative markets. Global implications, ripples across the world. This potential trade clash between India and the US isn't happening in a vacuum. It has broader implications for the global economy. Increased protectionism between major economies can create uncertainty and dampen global trade growth. Supply chains that are currently intertwined between India and the US could face significant disruption, potentially leading to higher costs for businesses and consumers worldwide. Companies might be forced to reevaluate their sourcing and production strategies, leading to shifts in global manufacturing locations. This situation also serves as a reminder of the fragility of global trade and the importance of a stable and predictable international trade environment. It could potentially encourage other countries to adopt more protectionist measures, further fragmenting the global economy. Conclusion: the prospect of a 50% tariff tsunami between India and the USA presents significant challenges, but also opportunities for strategic recalibration. While the short-term impacts could be painful for certain sectors in both countries, the long term will likely see a reshaping of trade relationships and a renewed focus on domestic competitiveness and diversification. How India navigates this situation through diplomacy, strategic policy choices, and a focus on strengthening its economic foundations will be crucial in mitigating the negative impacts and charting a course for future growth in a changing global landscape. What are your thoughts on this potential trade clash? What do you think India should do? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this analysis insightful, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth discussions on global economics and business. Thanks for watching.